So I do recommend you have a nice clear open space. If you have more than one yoga mat, put it down, spread out, take up space, be present. In addition to your yoga mats, have your usual yoga stuff, your belt, bathrobe tie will do, a pair of matching yoga blocks, and some sort of padding or pillow. We're going to start lying down. If we haven't met before, my name is Brandy. Welcome to Sunday morning yoga. So starting off with knees bent, feet flat. Take your feet as wide apart as your mat. Turn your toes in and let your knees lean together. And place your hands down low on your belly. This is known as constructive rest pose or Ardha Shavasana, half Shavasana. So this is nice if you have back issues. So knees bent, toes turned in, knees leaning together. Hands down low on your belly. Turn your attention inward and find your breath. Let it come in and out through your nose. Work up some spit and swallow. And then clear your throat to find the back or base of your throat. And as you breathe in and out through your nose, let that breath scrape the back or base of your throat to cultivate that whispering, ocean-like ujjayi pranayama, that yoga breath with sound. And let that breath flow down deep into your body and feel your belly rise and fall beneath your hands. Let that breath provide an internal massage as your belly rises and falls. Massage your back with your breath. Feel your backside spreading out on the ground. And you might reach down with your hands and spread out your hips, spread out your lower back. As muscles begin to release and sag and hang from the bones and spread out across the floor. Feel more of your lower back making a connection with the ground. Now your challenge is to keep your hips heavy, your lower back on the floor, as you bring one knee at a time, both knees into your chest. Place one hand on each knee, so one hand on each knee, and begin to stir the pot. Circle around and around. Use your arms to move your legs. Your legs are loose and limp and just hanging out. Arms are doing the work. And you feel that massage around and around your lower back, that sacrum. And do keep breathing. Long, slow, deep, relaxed breaths. Massaging your back with breath. And these circles. And then reverse, circle around the other way. And come to center. Give those knees a good hug, curling up into a ball, bringing those knees into your chest. And then set your feet down, one foot at a time, both feet down on the floor. Still with your knees bent and your feet flat. Let your feet go as wide apart as your mat, so one foot on the other side of the yoga mat. And maintaining that awareness in your lower back. Let your knees tick-tock side to side like windshield wipers. Both knees to one side, and then both knees to the other, giving that lower back a gentle twist. To get more sophisticated with this, you can slow it down and begin to synchronize breath with movement, so that as you inhale, knees come to center, and then as you exhale, both knees fall to one side. Inhale to center, and both knees to the other side. So tick-tocking, windshield wiping those knees side to side, getting that lower back to twist. If you feel that you're creeping down your mat, well, let's get a little bit more sophisticated with this. Locate the floating hip, whichever hip that is. And as you as it is floating, you want to hike it up towards your shoulder before setting it back down on the ground. And then flip to the other side. Floating hip hikes up towards your shoulder before you set it back down, and then switch sides. And that should keep you from traveling down your mat if you find that that's happening to you. A couple more times. Hiking the floating hip up towards your shoulder before setting it down. Starting to wake up the abs a little bit with that hip hike action. We're going to really turn up the abs now, letting both knees fall over to the right side. With both knees falling over to the right, your legs are still staggered, one on the other side of your mat, and you'll end up with that right foot near the left knee. Now you have the option of putting that right foot on top of the left knee. This will, of course, make that left hip float up higher off the floor. Now take that left hip, that left butt cheek, and activate it, squeeze it so that that left hip bone juts out, sharp and pointy. Squeezing just the left butt cheek, rock hard bun of steel, hip bone sticking out sharp and pointy. Option of putting that right foot on top of the left knee. Now you might want to reach down with that left hand and find that left foot and hike your left toes up towards your left armpit. So I'm scuffing up my pedicure. I've got my toes flipped up towards my armpit. Top of the foot getting a bit of a stretch here too. Keep breathing. Again, each and every exhalation is a chance to pull your tummy in. Don't be shy about clearing your throat. Get up that hairball, activating that Jandala Harabandha in your throat. Tucking in your front ribs for Uddiyana Bandha and pulling in that pelvic floor for Mula Bandha. Activating your bandhas to get even more activation in your core musculature for even more stretch here. So abs are activated, each and every exhalation. Butt cheek is still squeezing the entire time, feeling a good strong stretch. And then slip the foot off the knee, reset, and switch sides. We're going to repeat this a couple more times. So again, your feet are staggered, one foot on either side of the mat. And now your left foot is near that right knee. First, you might want to reach down and find that right foot and hike it up towards your right armpit. Toes flat, top of the foot flat on the floor, toes pointed towards the armpit. Right butt cheek floating off the ground, right butt cheek activated. And again, you have that option of putting that left foot on top of the right knee, pushing that right knee down and away, getting that right hip to stretch even more. Again, activating your abs, tucking your chin, pulling in your front ribs, hitching up your britches, pulling in that pelvic floor, getting a good strong stretch down the front of that right hip. The more you activate your abs, the more stretch you'll receive. And reset. All right, we're going to repeat. Once again, stagger one foot on either side of the mat. Let both knees fall to the right. Option to hike that left foot up towards your left armpit. Feeling the stretch on the top side of the foot. Squeezing that left butt cheek floating high up off the ground. Foot bone sticking out. Right foot on top of the knee. Dragging, pushing that left knee down and away. Activating your throat, tucking in your front ribs, zipping up your tight pants. Abs are engaged. You got all that going and you still want more stretch, you take your arms overhead. Reach across with your right hand and pull on that left wrist. So now this entire left side of the body is exposed. And just as if you were exposed in this pose and somebody came along to tickle you, if you're ticklish, you're going to be really good at this. Activate like you're guarding against being tickled. Tuck in those front ribs. Pull in your abs. Zip up your tight pants. Even pull in that pelvic floor like you got to pee. All the while, that right hand is pulling on that left wrist. So do two different things in opposition. Activate your abs and stretch the abs at the same time. And now you're doing yoga. And reset. And switch sides. Coming back to center, one foot on either side of the mat, knees falling to the left. Reaching down with that right hand, hiking that right foot up towards your right armpit. Optional, of course, everything is optional here. Pulling in that pelvic floor, squeezing that right butt cheek, maybe putting that left foot on top of that right knee, dragging that right knee down to the ground. Arms go overhead, reaching across with that left hand to pull on the right wrist. And each and every exhalation, engaging those abs. Big stretch. The thing I like about this windshield wiper move, and I actually call this one CSI pose, looks like a crime scene chalk outline on the floor here, is that it is a gentle lower back twist, and it's an introduction to engaging your abs. Well, you're going to take it to the next pose here. You're going to sweep your arms down by your sides and reset to neutral. I'm going to do a pose I've heard referred to as the pretzel, like a pretzel with a BR at the beginning, pretzel. So this might be a little confusing. I'm going to orient myself so that we're all kind of going the same direction. I'm assuming you are heading, looking at the screen as I do this. So your toes are pointing in the same direction my toes are. Hopefully this isn't too confusing with the right and left thing. Definitely want to have that pillow or block available for your head. So have those blocks nearby. Definitely have a pillow ready to go. Hopefully the right and left all line up. We're all going the same direction, because from here, you're going to take this right hip and you're going to lift your hips up and shove that right hip over to the left, and then drop that right hip pocket down on the ground. You're going to be on the outside edge of this right hip pocket. This right knee bends and that right foot goes underneath you. Remember reaching down to grab a hold of the foot, hiking up towards your armpit? Well, now you're going to reach with your left hand for your right foot. You might need to roll off to one side, fidget around, and find that right foot. Grab a hold of that right foot. And now your left knee is going to hike up towards your chest. You're going to hold on to it with your right hand. So it's a right, left, right thing. Opposite arm to hand or knee. Do hike this left knee up towards your chest. You want it to get tight and close to your chest. Maybe tight and close enough that you can hook your hand behind the knee, behind the thigh. Or you can use your belt. Hiking that left knee in tight, close to your chest, using that right arm to hug it in, activate that right arm muscle. You might find that you're lying mostly on your right side here. Breathe. And now here's the magic. You're going to push that left foot into your hand. I guess that's your right foot. Your right foot into your left hand as if you were trying to straighten the bottom leg. If I were to lose my grip, you might see this happen. The leg flings out. Get a good strong grip on it. Hold on to it. Shoulder permitting, you might even shrug that left shoulder onto your back and hold on to the pinky toe side of the foot to get that added shoulder stretch. Get a good grip on that foot and try straightening that right knee. And you're holding onto the foot, so it's not going anywhere, but activate. Now this right hand that's hooked underneath this left knee is going to hold on tight, and you're going to try pushing your left leg to the end of the mat. And it's not going anywhere because you're holding on tight. And as you do that, you breathe. And as you do that, you might be able to fidget your shoulders so they lie a little bit flatter. Now keep working it. We're now stretching some of the mid-back muscles in this funky pretzel twist. Keep pushing hard. It doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I'm actually pushing quite hard. I'm trying to straighten the bottom leg. I'm shoving the top leg away from me, and I'm holding on tight so nothing moves. Keep breathing. You want to get even more sophisticated? Can you activate your exhalation? Tuck in your front ribs, maybe fidget your shoulders so they lie a little flatter. Each and every exhalation, maybe this left shoulder moves closer to the ground. You want your head to be on enough support that your neck is comfortable so that you can breathe and relax that upper body. Your head's dangling in space. If your chin is higher than your nose, you're not going to get the full benefit of this pose. You might want to put a block underneath your head. So we're hanging out here for at least 30 seconds. Because this is an unusual pose and it does take a few breaths for your body to figure out what it's supposed to be doing here. And settle in and start to stretch and twist. And then you get to reset. We get to do that whole thing on the other side. So reset, come to neutral. Lifting those hips up, shift your hips over to the right because you're going to dump the left hip pocket down onto the ground. You might even roll over to your left side so you can reach back with your right hand and find that left foot. Again, if you can shrug the shoulder onto your back and hold on to the pinky toe side of the foot, it's a little bit more opening for the shoulders. But honestly, if you could just hold on any way you can, go for it. Hold on to that foot. So now this is my bottom leg. This right leg is swinging back, feeling the stretch down the front of the thigh. Left hand gets underneath that right thigh. Right knee close, tight to the chest. And you breathe. And you work it. Pushing foot against hand, thigh against hand, fidgeting your shoulders so they lie a little flatter. Nice deep breaths, if you can, so that those ribs, that middle back, starts to twist. The more you hike this right knee tight close to your chest, the safer your lower back will be. So to protect that lower back, so you don't overdo that lower back, make sure this right knee is hiked in tight close to your chest. And breathe. Eventually, this right shoulder comes down towards the ground. We're going for 30 to 60 seconds. We're spending a few moments here breathing. And again, it might look like I'm just laying here, but I'm still working. I'm pushing that right thigh into my left hand hard. I'm pushing the left foot into my right hand hard. I'm breathing. Even pulling in abs a little bit, trying to get that chest to rotate more. And release. Come to center. All right, you're going to pick a side. Doesn't matter which. Pick a side so that you can look at the screen. You're going to hike those knees in tight close to your chest. And again, you might need a pillow or a block, or a pillow and a block underneath your head. You do want your neck to be comfortable. Knees come in tight, close to your chest. You're lying on your side. All right. Big toes touch. Take that top hip and push it away. So your side waist goes long. And maybe that bottom side waist lifts away from the floor, makes a little mouse house between the floor and your side waist. I'm wearing all black, you can't see it, but there's a little cave here. Top hip pushes away, stacking up toes, knees, and ankles. Knees tight close to your chest. Heels in towards your butt. All right. Now find this top butt cheek. You squeezed it once, you're going to squeeze it again. Activate just the top butt cheek, nice and tight, and then lift the knee up. It's only going to lift a few inches and lower down. We're doing clams. So squeezing that top butt cheek the entire time. Open, shut them. Open, shut them. Give a little clap, clap, clap. So squeezing that top butt cheek tight the entire time. Just open and shut. So these clam exercises are really good for toning these outer hip muscles to help stabilize your lower back, your pelvis. If you're one of those people who throws their back out on a regular basis, you might consider doing clams. All the while that top hip is pushing away, you have a mouse house and you're squeezing that top butt cheek. Now this top hand, I'm going to hike the top shoulder onto my back. Top hand slips into my butt cheek pocket. I'm poking that butt cheek. I'm making sure it's tight the entire time. And you might even push that top hip forward a bit so that your knees stay stacked one on top of the other. There's a tendency to kind of slouch towards the back of your mat. Keep pushing that top hip over so your knees are stacked the entire time. And this will fatigue soon if it hasn't already. You want to feel a tightness, a butt squeeze the entire time. Good. And then relax. Take a moment. You might jiggle a little bit. And we're going to continue on this side, pushing that top hip over, pushing it forward, stacking up toes, knees, and ankles, squeezing that top butt cheek. And now you get to lift the knee and the foot up. So you want the foot level with the knee. And you're going to bring that knee forward and tap the knee down and over, tap the toe down. Knee down, toe down. Knee down and toe down. Top hip is pushing away the entire time. Top hip is pushing forward. You can leave that top hand a thumbs up in that top butt cheek pocket to make sure that top butt cheek is active the entire time. Toe down, knee down. We're starting to feel the burn here in the outer hip butt cheek, squeezing the entire time. Want to warm that hip up real good. I got plans for you. Okay. Now I'm not counting. I'm just doing this by feel. And it's starting to feel like I've got some blood flow into that muscle. And now I'm just going to take that top knee and put it on the floor between my bottom knee and chest. My legs are staggered. Arms go out in front. One hand on top of the other. Make sure that cheek is relaxed now. One hand on top of the other. Prepare with an inhale. And as you exhale, pull in your tummy and sweep that top arm across the sky like a rainbow. At the highest point of the rainbow, find your ribs and get your rib cage to rotate, twisting, turning your chest open. And you might want to have that pillow or block underneath your head as you continue to turn your chest open. And whichever hand is close to your knees, go ahead, put it on top of that knee. Hold on to the knee. I'm holding behind the knee in the knee pit. Inhale, prepare. And as you exhale, the knee tries to push up and the hand holds it down. So the knee is trying to push up, but I'm holding it down as I turn my chest open a little bit more. Getting a good strong twist. And feeling that butt cheek stretch, that hip stretch. Keep this knee snuggled in close to your chest. You might reach over with both hands, give it a good hug, and roll over onto your back. I'm going to take this leg that you're holding onto, cross it over, and you might want to fidget, rearrange yourself so you're centered on your mat. Ankle crossed over your lap. The foot that's flat on the floor, going to rock to the pinky toe edge of the foot, and then to the inside arch side edge of the foot. So that foot stays down on the ground the entire time. You're rocking from the inside edge to the outside edge of the foot, whichever leg you have crossed over. This happens to be my right leg, crossed over. That foot is flexed flat. Ankle bone is in the groove near the kneecap or pushed to the outside of the thigh. And I'm pushing that knee away the entire time. If you find yourself traveling down your mat, remember that hip hiking thing? So whichever hip is floating, you want to hike that hip up towards your armpit before you set it down on the ground. Whichever hip is floating, hike it up towards your armpit before you set it down on the ground. Hiking the hip up as you continue to push that knee away. I know, two different things at the same time. Tick-tocking a few times. And then take that foot that's on the floor, whichever one that is, and you're going to wiggle it across your mat so that your shins start to stack. The shins start to stack. So if you're familiar with fire log pose, Agni Stambhasana, this is like a fallen over fire log pose, or preliminary stages of your lotus pose, Padmasana. Maybe it's Supta Agni Stambhasana, supine fire log pose. I don't know. Tick-tocking. Getting some interesting stuff to happen here in the hips. And then release. All right, we get to do the whole thing on the other side. So go ahead, roll over, spin around, and set up. Do our clams on the other side. So don't be shy about using a pillow or a block. You're going to probably want it. Knees coming close to your chest. Toes swing back in line with your hips. Big toes stay together. You're going to push that top hip away and push it over. So your knees stack one on top of the other. There will be a tendency for this top hip to kind of slouch backward. Don't let it. Keep pushing it away and over. All right, ready, set, activate that top butt cheek, squeeze it tight, hold it tight the entire time, and then open and shut. The first 5 or 6 of these don't feel like much at all, and then it sneaks up on you. Again, clams are very common in physical therapy. Open, shut, open, shut. If you're squeezing that top butt cheek the entire time, it will start to feel like something's happening real soon. And it's not a huge movement, Most important to keep that hip pushing away and over. It does help sometimes to put that hand in that back pocket. Keep pushing that back pocket forward. All right. Starting to feel it. It's time to take it to the next move, which is knee and toe up. Knee in and then toe over. In and over. All the while, hip is pushing over and away. And squeeze that top butt cheek the entire time. And when that hip starts to feel warm, you've done what you need to do. You're going to bring that knee on the floor. So your legs are staggered. Bent knee in front of the other. Hands out in front, one on top of the other. Inhale, prepare. And as you exhale, take that top arm across the sky like a rainbow. Bind your front ribs and continue to turn your chest open towards the sky. Now, hand can come to the knee. Knee is going to try pushing up. You're going to hold it down with your heavy hand. And as you do that, push the knee up and hold down with your hand. You can activate your abs and fidget your shoulders, and maybe your shoulders come a little closer to the ground. You want that rib cage to rotate. Big twist. And you might get a bit of a hip stretch here as you do this as well. So my knee is pushing up, my hand is holding down. I'm really pushing hard. It doesn't look like I'm doing much, but I can feel it. Hopefully you can too. And then release. You can reach over there, grab that leg, bring it in towards your chest. Again, close to your chest, protects your back. As you roll over onto your back, recenter, square yourself off. Ankle crossed over thigh. Foot flex flat. Foot that's flat on the ground is going to rock to the outside edge and then the inside end. Again, you might be using a block or a pillow, or a block and a pillow underneath your head. Have enough height so that your face is neutral. Your chin is lower than your nose. Tick-tocking. Same thing, remember, if you are traveling down your mat, you want to hike that floating hip up towards your shoulder before you set it back down. Hike up that floating hip. But don't forget to keep pushing your lap away. Hiking the hip up as you're pushing the lap away. After a few tick-tocks here, side to side, you might want to go further into this spiral log pose. So that bottom foot, you want to move it across midline so that when you drop that pinky toe side down, your shins start to stack. Getting a stretch in the front of the hip. Feet flex flat the entire time to help protect your knees. I'm breathing. Supine fire log pose. And then reset. All right, you get to come back to lying on your side and find your belt. So again, pillow or block, or pillow and block underneath your head. Enough stuff there. Knees come in tight, close to your chest. Again, I'm not doing left or right because that's a little bit confusing at this point, but pick a leg. Looking at the screen, whichever leg's on top is the one we're going to be lifting into the air. But first, make sure those knees are hiked in tight, close to your chest, curling up into a ball. And then take that top leg, raise the roof up into the air. Find the inner thigh, the inseam, and twist the inner thigh, the inseam towards your face. So you're examining the seam on the inside of your pant leg. Turning your inner thigh towards your face as much as you can. Your toes going to point back behind you. Running your hand up the inside of the leg, depending on how long your legs are, how short your arms are. You might need a belt to help you lasso that foot. The belt's going to go around the ball of the foot, the top of the arch. You want to hold on to the belt, but still have that inner thigh turned towards your face. Some of you have long enough arms, long enough fingers that you can take 2 fingers around the big toe. You can go there too. And settle in. If you find that you're falling over, hike that bottom knee in tighter, closer to your chest. That will keep you from falling over. And then we're just going to be here for a few breaths. Those hip muscles are stubborn. And this is a weird, awkward pose. And it takes a few moments for your body to get used to the situation and settle in. Keep on breathing, big belly breaths. So this is a lovely stretch of the hamstring on the back of the thigh, and it's a bit of an inner thigh groin stretch. Let your shoulders melt away from your ears. Just let your arm be heavy. Big belly breaths. And then release. Do keep that belt handy. I'm gonna bend that top knee. Both knees in tight, close to your chest. And once again, recenter yourself lying on your side. We haven't switched sides, you're staying on the same side. Don't be shy about having a block or something underneath your head if you need it. I'm going to remove my blocks and stuff because my mic is over here and I don't want to muffle the mic too badly. Again, you can have your head on a block or a pillow. But what we're going to do is line up for Vishnu's couch. And I like to use the borders, the edges of my mats as reference here because I want to line everything up on a straight line. So I'm on this transition between dark green and light green. And I want to have my ankle, my knee, my hip, my shoulder, and even my elbow all on the same line. Head can be on a pillow or a blocker you need to, whatever you need to do for your head. If you take the palm of your hand behind your ear, cradle the base of your skull in the palm of your hand, you're going to push your head back into the palm of your hand. You make sure that elbow is in line with the rest of your body. So head back, waistline back, hips thrust forward, and we're pushing that top hip forward, even squeezing that top butt cheek. Bottom foot is flexed flat. You're on the pinky toe side of the foot, and you're going to kick that top leg out, stacking up toes, knees, and ankles. Both feet are flexed flat. Top hand can be a kickstand as you settle yourself in. Head back, waistline back, hips forward, pinky toe, blade edge of your foot digging into the ground. Everything on a balance beam. Level 1, top hand is on the ground. There is a side waist mouse house here because that top hip is pushing away and forward a little bit. Head back, waistline back, hips forward, pinky toe, blade edge of the foot on the ground, balancing on that knife's edge. Here we are in level 1. Level 2, you take that top hand along the sideline of your body and you just balance. The balancing toes lying on the ground. So far, so good. The next stage is to take that top foot, drag it up into like a variation on tree pose. So foot against the inseam of the leg. Same thing here. Head back, waistline back, hips forward, pinky toe, blade edge of the foot digging into the ground. Still have a mouse house in that side waist. So far, so good. And then the final stage of Vishnu's couch is to run your hand up the inside of the thigh. Try not to look, just feel for it. Running up the inside of the leg, toes pointing back behind you, foot flexed flat. Show me the inseam of your pant leg as you run your hand up the leg and maybe take those 2 peace fingers around the big toe. If you're not quite holding onto the foot, that's okay. Just hold on to the leg. Head back, waistline back, hips forward, pinky toe, blade edge of the foot digging into the ground, balancing Vishnu's couch. So Vishnu is one of the big three in yoga mythology. You have Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the sustainer, and Shiva, the destroyer. So their challenge is to sustain this pose, dream the dream of the world, and maintain it. Breathing. Take a nap in this pose. Breathe as if this is easy, as if you could do this in your sleep. And then coming out of this the way you went in. So transitioning back to that tree pose variation. And then kick that top leg out, stack up toes, knees, and ankles, balancing on that knife edge, head back, waistline back, hips forward, pinky toe, blade edges of the foot digging into the ground. And then you get to release and roll on over, flip on over, spin around, and do that same thing on the other side. So pillow or block underneath your head. Have that belt ready to go because the initial variation here is you're just curling up into your fetal position, knees close, tight, close to your chest, and then that top leg goes in the air, running your head up the inside of the leg, turning the inner thigh towards your face. Now, the way your thigh bone is shaped and orients into your pelvis, the more you turn that leg out like a ballerina out to the side, the higher you'll be able to hike that leg in towards your shoulder. The trick to getting that leg behind your head is to have it pointing back behind you. So inner thigh towards your chest is a very important step here. So get maximum rotation on this leg and then ratchet it in close to your body. You can use that belt around the foot to hold on, or peace fingers around the big toe, whatever works for you. Bottom knee close to your chest to keep you from falling over and protect your lower back. And breathe. So we're doing this for that inner thigh and hamstring stretch. Big belly breaths. And it takes a few breaths for those stubborn hip muscles to get the idea that it's okay to be in this pose, that it's okay to relax. All right, so we can call this like Vishnu's pose stage 0, preparation for Vishnu's couch. And that's where we're going next, is Vishnu's couch. So from here, I'm going to line up on the edge of your mat, or whatever line you have for reference. Put everything on that balance beam, ankle bone, knee bone, hip bone. I'm going to move my pillows and stuff out of the way so you can see my armpit bone and my elbow bone are all on the same line. Elbow back in line with your body, palm of the hand behind your ear, head back, waistline back, hips forward, big toes, knees, ankle bones, everything stacked up. Top hand on the floor. Stage 1, Vishnu's couch. Stage 2, top hand on the hip. Breathe. Head back, waistline back, hips forward, pinky toe, blade edge of the foot digging into the ground. Next stage is that tree pose variation on the inseam of the bottom leg. Inner thighs turned open, pelvic thrust forward, hips back, waistline back. And then running your hand up the leg. Try not to look for it, just feel for it. Running your hand up the inside of the leg, in, externally rotated, turning that inseam towards your face. Holding on to the leg, or maybe taking those peace fingers around the big toe. It's not about holding on to your foot. It's about balancing. Head back, waistline back, hips forward. Are you still a straight line on that balance beam? Pinky toe, blade edge of the foot digging into the ground. Breathing. Like a goddess, God reclining Sustaining the pose, smooth, even breathing, like a daydream. Chillaxing on Vishnu's couch. All right, coming out the way you went in, back into that tree pose variation. Still pushing that top hip away. Ideally, you still have a little mouse house here on the side waist. Kicking out, stacking up toes, knees, and ankles on that balance beam. And then hand to the ground. Now we're going to roll over onto our tummies and recommend rolling to face the screen so you don't have to turn your head sideways. I'm going to go sideways just so you have a better view of me. But it will be quite uncomfortable if you're trying to do this and look over your shoulder the entire time. So you might want to head towards the screen. I'm going this way to show you that I am stretching out. I've got my toes curled under and I am shimming my legs nice and tight and close together. I'm wiggling here so that my butt is spreading out and my inner thighs tuck in. My outer thighs roll down towards the ground. So if I had stripes on the outside of the pant legs, those stripes would be rolling down towards the floor. Cross one big toe on top of the other, but let the tops of your feet be flat on the ground. So one big toe cross on the other. That helps maintain that inward rotation on the legs. Make a pillow out of the back of your hands. Turn your head to one side and breathe. Take some nice deep belly breaths. And feel that lower back relax. Nice deep belly breaths, massaging your lower back with deep breathing. So your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to keep your butt relaxed. Keep those nice deep breaths going. And then separate your arms or your hands. So you're making goalposts out of your hands and elbows. Elbows in line with your shoulders, goalposts with your arms, palms flat to the ground. You might be looking up to look at your screen, that's fine. But once you get the idea of what's happening, then you can just drop your forehead down. So look up initially the first couple times because I would like you to lift the back of your hand up and then put it down. It's like you're raising your hand. Pivoting at the elbow, raise the other hand and put it down. So switching, alternating, one hand, then the other. And once you get an idea of what's happening here, just put your face down. You can let your forehead rest on the ground and raise one hand, then the other. So you're pivoting at the elbow. You are engaging rotator cuff muscles to do this work, shoulder muscles to do this work, not your butt muscles. Relax your butt. I know, it's challenging. Let that butt go. Raise one hand if you understand, and then raise the other. And make sure those butt cheeks are nice and relaxed as you raise one hand, and then the other. All right, keep your butt relaxed. Can you lift the backs of both hands up? Why is that harder? I don't know. Put it back down. And again, lift the backs of both hands up and down. Two more just like that. Maybe it gets a little easier each and every time. Maybe you go a little further and put it down. And one more time. So you're just pivoting at the elbow and down. And now you might lift your head up and have a quick look once again because we're going to change it. In a moment, when it starts to make sense, you're going to have your forehead down, but it will look like this. You're going to lift up one hand and then reach out, pull back in, lift up a little bit more as you put the elbow down. Let the elbow lead the way, and the palm goes down. Let me show that to you one more time. I'm going to lift the back of my hand up, reach forward, pull back, trying to keep that elbow up, rotate a little bit further, lead the way, elbow touches down, and then the palm. And then you do the same thing with the other side. Palm up, reach, pull back of the hand up a little bit more, elbow touches down first, palm down. All right, when it starts to make sense, just go ahead and join me. One arm at a time, and you're moving slow enough that you can pay attention to what you're doing. Hand up, reach out, pull back, keep that elbow up as you lift the hand up a little bit more, put the elbow down and palm down. Just go. Can you do this and relax your butt? Oh man, I know that butt is trying to help so much. Let's let the shoulders do the work. Let your arms do the work, not your butt. And is one arm working better than the other? Probably. Does it get better each and every time? Yes. Mine does, at least. I don't know. A couple more times here. All right, whatever you're doing, finish up so you're even on both sides. And then, of course, you know what's coming up next. You get to relax your butt and try doing both arms at the same time. So pivot, reach, pull back, pivot a little bit more, elbows down, release. How about two more just like that? Reach, back. And then you can make a pillow out of the back of your hands, turn your head to one side, and jiggle your butt. Your butt was trying to help, I know. Let it go. Keep on jiggling your butt as you bring your elbows in underneath your shoulders. Shrug your shoulders away from your ears. Let your head hang. Let your shoulders shrug away from your ears as your head hangs. Chin hairs and chest hairs coming together. Shoulders shrugging away from your ears. Chin hairs and chest hairs coming together. Tuck those shoulder blades into your back pockets. Let your head hang and scrub your chin hairs against your chest hairs. Shoulders are pulled back away from your ears. You're going to push your elbows into the ground and slowly lift your head up to have a quick look. Looking forward, hopefully you don't have to turn your head sideways to see what's happening. I'm going to spin around so we're all going the same direction. Elbows underneath your shoulders, shoulders shrugged away from your ears. Still have your toes one crossed on top of the other. Nice long neck, pulling your ears away from your shoulders away from your ears, pushing down into your elbows. Long lower back, maybe even jiggling your butt around a little bit. And breathe. Shoulders down away from your ears. Look back over your left shoulder. Make sure that left butt cheek is relaxed. And then look back over that right shoulder. Make sure that right butt cheek is relaxed. And guess where we're going? Yeah, we're going to look over that right shoulder and reach back, take a hold of that right foot and drag it in towards your butt. Now we did a bit to loosen up those shoulders, so maybe you can hike that right shoulder onto your back. Right hand on the top of the foot, dragging that heel down. If you can get your armpit higher than the toe, you might be able to spin your hand around so your fingers point in the same direction as your toes. Still looking back at it, make sure that right butt cheek is relaxed. Now legs are together. Imagine you had a camera pointed up your backside. Legs are together. And release. Take a moment to jiggle like jello. Shoulders down away from your ears. You're going to look over that left shoulder. Reach back, take hold of that left foot. Heel to the butt. So that shoulder is shrugged onto your back. If you can get your armpit higher than your toes, you might be able to spin your hand around so fingers and toes are pointing in the same direction. Legs are narrow, close together. And release. So you did one side, then you did the other side. Now we're going to do both sides. And you might need to rock side to side to catch hold of both feet. So if you reach back, grab a hold of that right foot. And then sometimes it helps to kind of roll over, grab a hold of that left foot as well, and then recenter. Legs are together, shoulders shrug back, flex your feet so you've got ankles to hold on to. Shoulders are squeezing together, chin is tucked, and you're going to push your feet into your hands and begin to arch your back. And release. All right, same thing on the other side. Reaching back, grabbing hold of that left foot. And sometimes it helps to roll over so you can grab a hold of the right foot also and recenter. Flexing those feet flat, legs are narrow, shoulders squeezing together. Chin is tucked as you kick back into your bow pose, archer's bow. And release. Elbows come underneath your shoulders. Once again, you get to jiggle like jello. Wiggle and waggle. All right, shoulders down away from your ears. You could separate your hands like an Egyptian sphinx. Spread your fingers. Keep those shoulders shrugged down your back. And if it works for you, if your lower back is happy, you have the option of straightening your arms, going a little bit more arch here in the back. Shoulders are down away from your ears. Chin is tucked. Back of your neck is long. You don't have to straighten your arms completely. It's actually better to keep them unlocked. And release. Let's turn this into one of my favorite twists. So figure out which one is your right leg, and you're going to hike that right leg out to the side. Remember, the closer this knee comes in towards your shoulder, closer to your armpit, the nicer it is for your lower back. So do make sure that you hike that knee up. One way to check to see if that knee is at least at a 90-degree angle is to take your straight arm down, and if your wrist bone touches your knee bone, you're at 90 degrees. So wrist bone touches knee bone, that's a good start. You can run your hand through the inner thigh out towards the knee and move that knee away from your body so that you can feel both front hip bones approaching the ground. Wrist bone on knee bone. And then swing that heel away from your hip so you have a 90-degree bend at the ankle, and flex that foot so you have a 90-degree at the ankle. So 90 at the hip, 90 at the knee, and 90 at the ankle. The straight leg, those toes curl under. You lift that knee up, get that leg as long as possible, and then release the top of the foot flat down to the ground. And then just settle in. Big belly breaths. Help release that lower back. Big belly breaths to massage your back. All right, if this is your right leg hiked out to the side, you're going to take the left arm underneath your chest and get that left shoulder down underneath your body. If your head is floating in the air like mine is, you might want to have a pillow or a block for your head. Hands stack one on top of the other. And that top hand comes across the sky like a rainbow. And again, hand comes to the ribs, going for a maximum twist. The top leg will drag. It will slide as you roll over. You might want to have that pillow for your head. Big twist here. If this is your right leg, you can use that left hand to hike that knee in tighter, closer to your chest, hooking that arm underneath the knee, pushing the leg against the knee. I guess it's leg against your hand, maybe even kicking that leg out, going for a big twist. And unwind. Keep this right knee bent. You're going to slide back onto your tummy with this right leg out to your side. And untuck that left arm. Now, left hand comes out to your side, and you're going to make that goal pose. So elbow in line with your shoulder, palm flat to the ground. And you might have a block or pillow underneath your head here. Right hand and right knee are out to the side here. Right hand is a kickstand. I'm going to take this right leg and kick it back behind you to get that shoulder stretch. So take this right leg, kick it back behind you as you roll onto that left hip. You're going to feel that left shoulder, that left chest, get a good strong stretch. Breathe. And release. All right, other side. Have that block ready to go. You're going to lie on your tummy, center yourself out, and then hike that left knee out to the side. And get in with your left hand and widen that left knee out to the side even more. You do want this knee fairly close to your chest, so hike it up. If your arm is straight, wrist bone touches knee bone. That gives you 90 degree at the hip. Swing the heel away from your butt and you get 90 degree at the knee, and flex that ankle. So 90 at the ankle. So 90 at the hip, 90 at the knee, 90 at the ankle. This is your starting position. You might want that block underneath your head. Straight leg, toes curl under, lift that knee up, get it super straight, and then relax it. You're here for a few breaths. Big belly breaths. You want the sensation of your lower back getting longer, of your butt spreading out. And once that lower body and lower back and butt have relaxed, keep it relaxed, and then take it into a twist. So if this is your left side, all out on the left side, you're going to take this right arm underneath you and get that shoulder down low underneath, and you stack your hands. You have that block for your head. Taking that top arm across the sky like a rainbow. Let the top leg drag. It will shift. It will drag as you roll into your twist. Hand comes to the ribs. You want to rotate your torso, not yank yourself around by the arm. So get the chest to twist. Try not to hurt your shoulder. Big twist. If this is your left leg on top, you can use your right hand underneath that knee. Hike it in tighter, closer to your chest. And just as we did earlier with that pretzel twist, push the thigh against the forearm. Fidget your shoulders. Power up, activate that bottom leg. Get a good twist to happen. And then release. This happens to be my left leg. I'm going to lie on your side, left leg, left hand out to the side. This right arm, doing that goalpost thing. The right palm is flat, right elbow level with the shoulders. Left hand is kickstand for you to kick or swing that left leg back behind you, rolling onto that right shoulder. Feeling that good stretch in the front of the right shoulder, big stretch, chest, shoulder stretch. And then release. All right, transitioning back to that child's pose. Big toes together, knees wide, just back over your heels. And you can use a stacked fist, one potato, two potato, or blocks or pillows or something underneath your forehead, so that your hips come heavy back over your heels. And breathe. Big belly breaths, using those big belly breaths to massage your back. And then slowly press yourself on up. And you get to have a seat. Now, I do recommend taking those 2 blocks in what I call butt cheek configuration. So you have 1 block for each butt cheek. And you might even cover that whole situation up with a pillow so that you're putting yourself up on a pedestal. Have a seat with a simple crisscross applesauce. Ideally, you're sitting on enough height that when you pull the flesh away from your butt bones, find yourself sitting on the front edge of your sit bones. Your hip bones are higher than your knee bones, and your thigh bones slant down and away. Palms turned forward for a good shoulder shrug up. Back and down. Inhale, take both arms up. And as you exhale, pull those shoulder blades down your back. I've got my palms shining forward. Let's do this again. Great big inhale all the way up. And exhale, pull down. Oh, 2 more just like that. Big inhale all the way up. And exhale, pull down. So it's like you're pulling down on that lat pull down bar. Your chest is lifting, your shoulder blades are drawing down and together. Going to keep this flat back as you advance your chest forward and let your elbows come onto your knees, onto your lap. And that's it. Hang out here. Except you're going to jazz it up a bit by pushing your knees up into your elbows. Again, as you see, doesn't look like I'm doing much, but go ahead, drop your head, look down at your lap, and push your knees up into your elbows, and let your chest be very heavy. Let your elbows be very heavy. Keep your shoulders down away from your ears. As your elbows press down, your knees push up, and you breathe. Big belly breaths. Massaging that lower back with breath. Working it, pushing knees up, elbows down, shoulders shrugged away from your ears. And then relax. You might use your hands to press yourself on up and recross, put the other leg in front. Other shin in front. So simple crisscross applesauce, sitting on the front edge of your sit bones, perched on the edge of your blocks, thighs angled down and away, shoulders shrug up, back and down. Inhale, arms come up, palms are forward. And as you exhale, pull those shoulder blades down your back. Nice, long, elegant neck. Keep almost this back bend position happening as you slide your elbows down onto your lap, elbows on your lap, shoulders down away from your ears. And then when it starts to make sense for you, you can drop your head and push knees up and elbows down. Big belly breaths. And hands on the floor, press yourself on up. Big inhale. Hands come together and down midline. Shoulders down away from your ears. Nice, long, elegant neck. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste. Have a lovely day, everybody.